So with that, I want you to take a minute. If you have something to write with, you can use that. If you have a notebook on your laptop or your phone, however you're taking this, you can use that. Whatever you want to do, get something to write with, and I want you to write down what you think school should look like. Now, we all know what traditional school looks like if you've experienced that. Now, I want you to think a little bit beyond that and think, if you could create a school, what do you think it should look like? It could be anything. I mean, it could be really basic things, or it could be really extravagant, creative, out of the box things. Whatever it is, I just want you to take a few minutes, and you can pause this, write it down, and then we'll come back and talk about some things. Awesome. We're going to come back to this list in a minute. So let's go over what tradition says school should look like. So tradition says we need to have set times, which is usually way too early in the morning for some of us until later in the afternoon. And it changes from elementary, middle, and high, which is very interesting because they always typically have the elementary kids go really early, and high school as well, and sometimes they flip it. But the data has shown that especially the older kids, the middle school and high school kids, they do better later in the day. But yet we still send them to school in the morning just because that's what fits parent schedules and society schedules. But we have found that kids really work better at different times. And if you have online schools, I know that Florida Virtual did a test one time, and they ran the data in their databases and found that most of their kids did the most work and were most productive like in the middle of the night, from like 10 at night to 1 in the morning. So it was very interesting. But so we have set times for these kids. We have the curriculum based on their age and grade, which I've gone over. We have a uniform growth expectation. So like I said, everybody that's in kindergarten is expected to make the same amount of gains every year. First grade, second grade. When they get to third grade and they take these state tests, they're all supposed to be above a certain score level. And sometimes that's just not possible. And sometimes kids don't start their learning growth or takeoff until later on in their academic career. And that's okay. They don't always have to be ahead of their peers. And sometimes kids are way ahead of their peers, but they're so bored with school that they've just given up and they're not putting any effort into it, even though they are very capable of it. The traditional school has to be very structured. They sit in seats. They have to walk quietly everywhere they go. They have to be like little robotic, obedient little children that don't get to just be kids anymore. A lot of memorization. They memorize tons of facts and information. They don't know why they're memorizing it, other than the fact they've been told they have to pass a test. A lot of the evaluations are based on just the teacher that's in there and their paper and pen. There's no room for mistakes. In the classroom, if a kid fails a test, they fail the test. Even if down the road in the next semester, whatever that skill was, if they learn that skill and they master that skill, it doesn't change that failing grade. Even though by the end of the year they have mastered that skill, their grades still reflect that they failed. And I hate that. I cannot stand that about the grading system, because these kids did learn that skill. They mastered it, but they still show that they failed at that skill or whatever that was. So there's just really no room for failures. And instead of using failures to build and learn from, they are penalized almost always. It's just a penalty, a failure penalty kind of system. And that we know that doesn't work in real life, that we have to use failures to empower people and encourage people to use that failure as a stepping stone to continue and learn from. And then the curriculum is created for the masses. So it's not created for these individuals. So sometimes these kids have to read things for tests, or they have to read things for their work that they don't relate to. And some of them have no background knowledge to the information that they're reading. So it's really hard to grasp or understand what they're reading when they don't have any information to pull into that reading so that they can comprehend it. So there's a lot of things like that the traditional school system is doing wrong and is creating an environment that is not conducive for our kids to thrive and excel in. So let's see how untraditional schools should look like. Okay, so you created your list a little while ago, and I'm going to tell you probably everything that you have on there could be something that you could do that would be great. There's really no wrong way to do this if it's something that is going to empower a kid, if it's something that's going to provide opportunities for our children to explore, to thrive, to feel safe, to feel confident, to empower them. So the great thing about creating an environment that empowers our kids when it comes to their education is that we have the flexibility to do anything. Create whatever you want that you put on your list. Create anytime learning. Check out of the box that makes you think that you have to have your kids doing school 7 hours a day. I'll have more data in the group to back this up because the workshop, it's just hard to put it in here, but they have already proven that homeschool kids that succeed better than public school kids typically do only a few hours of work a day. Sometimes they don't do anything on some days that would be considered like sit down official schoolwork. But on other days when they're, being more official, it's only 2 or 3 hours. The reason that kids are in school 7 hours is because you have so much time of just trying to manage classroom. Classroom management takes up a lot of time. Moving from one classroom to another for extracurriculars, getting to and from lunch, getting kids settled down, doing bathroom breaks. There's so much that just takes up extra time. It is not 7 hours of constant learning for these kids. So when parents have their kids homeschooling and they're like, I don't have time to do it, you don't have to do 7 hours. I'm telling you, kids in school are not doing 7 hours of learning. They don't need that there and they don't need that at home. You can create learning based on your child's individual ability, on their individual interest, and you can create growth, monitoring, and expectations based on their individual needs and what you see. You can have so much flexibility. You can have evaluations that are based on self-evaluations. You can have peer evaluations, mentor evaluations. There's a lot of ways that you can monitor your kids' learning, and I actually have Module 6 is about that, measuring momentum, so that I can show you some of the ways that you can evaluate your kid besides just doing paper and pen tests. You can use failures as a growth tool and teach kids how to fail and learn from it. I read something one day, I'll have to find it and share it in the group as well. But it was a girl was sharing a story how every day, instead of asking like how your day was, her dad would say, what'd you fail at today? And so they would talk about what she failed at. And so it taught her that whatever she failed at, she could learn from. I think that's a really, really awesome way of connecting with your kids and teaching them. And then you can, again, do everything that meets your kids' individual needs. We want a life that meets our individual needs. Why wouldn't we want that for our kids? I'm not trying to be a robot and create something that is for somebody else. And we get stuck in those ruts where we work these jobs that create income and lifestyles for other people and for our bosses. And why would we want to do that for ourselves? We want to break free and have our own life that is created for us. We want to create a lifestyle that we enjoy as adults. And that's what I know I want to do for my kids. I want to create a childhood that is exciting and empowering for them so that they can then create an adulthood that is the same. So we can do that. We can do that when we really, really change the way that we view education and the way that we create an educational environment for our kids.